Hello carpologists and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are taking a look at a brand new range of liquids from the guys over at Corus. This is liquid mist. So here it is guys, the latest and greatest when it comes to bait development from Corus, liquid mist. These liquids are a little bit special and they've been in development for over 2 years. And that involved field testers going out week in, week out, trying to put extra fish on the bank using these liquids. And let me tell you, the results are pretty phenomenal. Not only have the field testers reported more captures, but also they seem to be picking up the rarer fish. Whether that's down to the liquid or whether that's down to being in the right place at the right time, who knows? But it's certainly worth taking a look at these and thinking about putting them into your armoury if you need something a little bit extra. Now, as the name suggests, these are designed to create a massive cloud when they disperse in the water. And that isn't just for visual effect, it is a cloud of attraction. These are ram-packed full of flavours, amino acids, and a couple of other little secrets that the guys over at Corus are definitely not going to tell us about, but should help you put a couple more fish on the bank. When it comes to the visual cloud itself, obviously dependent on the colour of liquid that you pick, will depend on the colour of the cloud. As you can see here, you've got loads of different options to pick from. As a general rule of thumb, I like to use the sort of bright colours, the pinks, the yellows, the greens, the oranges. I like to use them on murky and cloudy lakes. The cloudy water seems to accentuate that sort of coloured plume that comes off of your baited area. If I'm fishing a gin clear lake, then I like to stick to the sort of the whites and the creamy coloured ones. It's just a little bit more subtle. I think sometimes on those lakes with that gin clear water, the fish can be a little bit more spooky, and something that's just a little bit more subtle can make the difference between getting the bite and not. When it comes to flavouring, that's where it really gets interesting. There are 10 different flavours within the range. So whether you want to match that to your current freebies that you're putting out, or whether you want to go with something that's completely the other end of the scale, like putting a nut flavoured liquid mist on top of a fish meal boilie to give it that extra dimension, it's all possible. It's also nice that you could mix a couple of these liquids together to give yourself something which is completely unique to you, your swim and your fishing situation. So as I mentioned earlier, these are a bait enhancement, which means they are not just a liquid that produces a cloud. They've got a double strength flavour in there. There's no nasty chemicals, nothing like that to worry about. 100% fish friendly. They're also PVA friendly, which takes me on to my next point. If you want to take your PVA bag fishing to another level, these are definitely something you need to take a look at. Tie your solid bag as normal, pierce a small hole in the side of it, stick one of these in and fill that bag, and then when that gets to the lake bed, you are going to end up with a plume of attraction on a level that you have never been able to achieve before. These also work extremely well within a spod mix. If you put any kind of pellet within your spod mix, these will soak into the pellet and create almost like a slow release on the bottom of the lake bed. So you'll have a constant cloud of attraction rather than just an initial burst and then it sort of drifting away to nothing. When creating a sloppy spod mix to fish over zigs, for example, a lot of people like to add evaporated milk to create that sort of cloud within the water columns. The problem is evaporated milk doesn't actually give it a great deal of attraction. Carp are not really that induced by the evaporated milk itself, but it is more about the cloud. Obviously these liquid mists will still give you that cloud, but they have got the feed stimulants and the amino acids in there to actually trigger a feeding response. So they are most definitely a step up when it comes to sloppy zig fishing. I've also tried the krill one on krill floaters, just put a nice glaze on there before I catapult them out into the lake. And again, it's just that extra little piece of attraction that no one else is using on the lake. It can just trigger that extra fish into feeding, and that extra fish could be the one that ends up in your landing net. And last but not least, I would also use them for coating my hook baits. Now, they do work better if you can sort of soak them for a couple of weeks, because you want this liquid to get to the core of the bait. And that is perfectly doable with these little pots from the guys over at Corus. So you put your hook baits in there, give them a little shake, and it will slowly soak into the hook baits. Any remaining fluid will end up in the bottom of this hook bait tub, so that you can just come back to it every couple of days, give it a sort of turn over, give it another little shake, and it will just recoat those boilies and just continue that process until the liquid is fully absorbed into all of your hook baits. Now obviously when you're putting any liquid into a pop-up or a wafter, it will change the buoyancy, so make sure you check them in the margin before you go cast them into lake and wondering why your choddy won't pop up anymore. Now, a couple of other liquids that are available on the market which offer fairly similar properties to this but nowhere near the level of attraction, offer thick and thin versions. Basically the thin versions is to soak into the inside of the core of a bait. The thick version is to stay on the outside of the bait. Corus have managed to get the consistency the same throughout the entire range, and it's just right that it's runny enough that it will soak in, but it's also thick enough that it will stay on the outside of the boilie and it won't just sort of disperse off as soon as it hits the water. It will get to the bottom of the lake bed and then start to do its job, which is exactly where you want it to be. Each one of these bottles contains 100 mils of liquid mist, and don't worry because a little bit goes an awfully long way. You won't be using one of these every time you go out, like per session. These will last you session after session after session. When it comes to price, they are $7.95 each, which is roughly 50% cheaper than some of the competitors are on the market. Pop onto the Corus website. They do entire bait ranges. They don't just do enhancement liquids, so take a good look on their site. If you like this video, please do hit that thumbs up button. It makes a massive difference to our channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and of course hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss out on any more videos from the guys over at CARPology. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much.